So this is the in-depth or a quickie review of the new Glock 17 split slide high speed. Since everyone knows, or by the time you figured out this channel, I like playing with the G series Glocks, especially with the Wii's. And of course, you guys have probably already seen one of the videos up, someone showing you the shooting aspect of the gun. So what we're going to do in this video is look a little bit more in depth of this gun, and by now some of you may already know the price is going to be ranging $135 to $150, and that's usually more than the typical Wii that you would usually see. Now, I already broke it down a little bit to examine it a little bit harder and see if it's really worth the money to buy. And as you guys already know, it comes with two sets of those sights and looks like a gas protector if you really want to use it. So splitting down the slide, it is fairly light. It's not too heavy, so definitely you could see that it's definitely gonna increase the cycling speed of the slide. And looking at the outer barrel and the hop-up unit, the hop-up unit obviously there's a screw to the hop-up unit and to the outer barrel that actually tightens it, so it really stays with the outer barrel. And definitely when you put the outer barrel with the tightened down, the bolted down slide part, it's definitely going to stay fixed at a very tight how you say it, there's almost like no movement at all. So definitely when you fire the gun, I think that this might be the most accurate out of the box Wii that I've seen. For some of you that have worked with the Wii pistol, you won't be able to see, but it looks like this time they really tried to how you say, make the hop-up arm align better with the bucking, so I could see that the nub is definitely straight in there, so you really don't have to play with the hop-up arm. And it looks like it has a 605 inner barrel because it's brass. If you work with the Wii NG3 system, it's a 603 type bore barrel, and it's a black barrel. So, but I want to keep it stock so that we could get a comparison of the gun when I do the shooting. So definitely I could see accuracy out of box. The hop-up unit bolted to the outer barrel, and definitely when you stick the outer barrel into the bolted down slide area, definitely you're going to get some, at least from what I can see in theory, you'll get some very accurate groups. Let me see. The air nozzle, it almost looks like it's a KJW red air nozzle, but I already looked at my KJW. They're slightly different, so really the only common thing they have is red. So I have a feeling that what Wii's trying to tell you, this is CO2 compatible. But normally, CO2 gram compatible, I should say. You probably could run it, but I don't suggest it because all that excessive pressure puts a lot of stress on the hop-up unit. So I would kind of avoid that. The recoil spring and rod looks the same, so like any Glock that you'd be using, so I don't see anything special. The magazine, the base plate is a little bit different. It's a little bit wider to accommodate the bottom end of the grip, more for looks, or how you say, or for faster reload speeds. One thing I do like about this lower is actually the trigger is really nice. It actually comes really close to the Wii Glock 18's trigger, but it might feel a little bit, how you say, it takes a little bit more pull to have it go set off, but it comes really close to the Glock 18's. So that's one thing I like about it. Probably the biggest thing I really don't like about this whole setup is actually the two self-tapping screws, as you can see right here. And let me see if I could show it. You'll see that it's pretty much kind of reminds me like wood screws. That's what I was gonna say. And definitely there's two holes here on the plastic lower frame. So what it means is you do not want to keep unscrewing the front part of this slide to the receiver, because eventually eventually all that plastic is going to come out and it's going to become loose. And I think over time, how you say, it's really going to get loose over time, that the screws are going to back out. So I would keep it really a minimum to breaking down this gun, or actually Glock. And you're going to have to get a little bit creative in oiling it, but I'm pretty sure you'd be able to still. But you got, like I said, you're going to be creative because you don't want to take this thing down too many times. All right, so I put it together. Very easy. Just put the whole slide together and bolt the 2 screws down. Used a little bit of Teflon tape for the front so I didn't have to screw it in too hard. Very little play. I mean, it's really nice and tight with the slide. And you can see the outer barrel bolts down pretty nicely. I mean, maybe a 0.2 of an inch of play, but better than most G series from WeTech. So looks like it'll shoot very accurate. Definitely want to give it a try. So we'll get an FPS and accuracy test for it. So this is the FPS test portion using my regulated CO2 at 120 psi. We're using Crytek 25-gram BBs. 309.2, 309, 309.4, 304.8, but I think I hit that. So 306.9. So it's definitely shooting pretty nice for CQB levels. Also, probably needs a little more break-in before it gets a little bit more consistent. I was originally thinking that I needed to replace inner barrel, but it feels like I don't really need to. And right now the bucking's actually set to its maximum, actually. So it looks, from me looking down the barrel, it looks like it will definitely hop up a 25-gram or even 28, but given that the range may be a little bit limited, but we won't know until we do the accuracy test. So in this portion, already emptied out the BB, so we're going to test the rate of fire on this. It feels really nice. And definitely recoil is very light on this. So definitely you're getting a treat for this one. To sum up the part with the internal review of the gun and the FPS test. Just one thing I want to note, I oiled up the trigger, so it definitely feels really close to my Glock 18C Gen 3. And even though the FPS varied about 7 FPS on my regulated CO2 rig, but you have to realize this is a brand new gun, and I really only shot, those were the only first shots I fired out of it. So I figured that after I fire a few more or a couple hundred rounds, it probably settled down to probably 305, 306, so who knows, but definitely it's shooting, at a very nice rate for what you're given for a stock G series gun. But definitely stay tuned for the accuracy test. I'm definitely very interested to see how this WeTech performed, because I really didn't have to modify it. So a lot of it, so actually this may be a very first stock WeTech that I can play with out of the box without touching anything from the hop-up unit or even the inner barrel. So I'm pretty impressed with it now, but definitely the accuracy test is definitely going to tell us something on how well it performs.